Today, I'd like to talk to you about 5 tips for effectively using in-camera sessions during your board meetings. It's a good way to strengthen trust and also transparency within your organization. So first of all, let's define what is an in-camera session, right? So an in-camera session is a meeting or part of a meeting where one or more individuals who are normally present are excused. This occurs when someone is excluded from a discussion or decision because they cannot, due to a particular interest or position, objectively discuss the matter. In the context of nonprofit organizations, the most likely individuals to be excused are perhaps certain board members, the executive director, or other staff members. We kind of want to go a little bit outside of the notion here that really only the executive director or another employee can be excluded or not invited to a certain session or a certain discussion at the board level, right? An in-camera session could be used to address an issue with a certain board member, for example. While it might be somewhat unusual, it does happen, and it could happen. And in terms of other staff members who could be excluded, think, for example, about maybe you have a director of finance who usually participates in board meetings to, for example, present financial statements to the board, right? Well, we could ask that person, obviously, in an in-camera session to not participate because we are discussing the executive director's compensation, for example. There are also organizations where the governance secretary is maybe an employee. So there are examples where we might want to excuse that employee from a board discussion, right? So this would be a reason for using an in-camera session. Why is the in-camera session important and useful? Well, they're important and useful because they allow for delicate or confidential matters to be addressed with full transparency by the board, right? An in-camera session provides a more intimate space where the board members can speak more freely. It's also a moment, to strengthen cohesion within the board, right? Without influencing or making the management team or the excluded individual uncomfortable. So the rest of my little video today will be to give you a few tips, right? So the first tip is to clarify the purpose of the in-camera session before the meeting, right? So before you even go into an in-camera session, take the time to clearly state why this approach is being proposed. Is it to discuss the executive director's performance, maybe the executive director's compensation? Is it to manage a conflict situation? Or is it simply to build trust among board members? All those reasons could be valid reasons for an in-camera session. What is the risk and impact of clearly defining why the in-camera session is taking place? Well, the risk is if the purpose of the session is not clarified, participants may feel confused, potentially leading to unnecessary tensions or misunderstandings about the actual intentions of the meeting, right? What is the impact of having a clearly stated purpose for the in-camera session? Well, a clear objective avoids misunderstandings. It makes people, generally speaking, more comfortable. When everyone understands why they are gathering, frustrations are more easily avoided, and everyone can participate more openly. The second tip here for your in-camera sessions is to create a safe and supportive environment. An effective in-camera session depends on a climate of trust. It is essential that you establish an environment where everyone feels free to speak without fear of judgment or repercussions, right? Sometimes it can help to remind participants that what is said here stays here. While everyone around your board table should already know and understand that there is confidentiality around all board matters, it never hurts to just remind everyone that, this is a safe space, it's open for discussion, and the board should be able to discuss freely. So just remind everyone, right? Guys, what is said here, stays here. The risk here is if the environment is not safe or supportive, some board members may withhold their opinions. They might avoid expressing themselves, right? Which could lead to a lack of transparency and ultimately less informed decisions. The impact, though, is a supportive environment where people feel listened to and respected, encourages honesty, and fosters collaboration as well. In a safe space, discussions are likely to be more honest and productive as well. The third tip here for your in-camera sessions is set a clear duration for your sessions. It's easy to get lost in what can seem like endless discussions, right? Setting a time limit for the in-camera session ensures that everyone remains focused or as focused as possible and that the meeting doesn't drag on unnecessarily. The risk here is without a set duration, there's a risk of straying onto other topics or prolonging the meeting, which can tire participants, right? We all know how taxing it can be to participate actively in a good debate of ideas, right? An important, sometimes delicate discussion can get exhausting, right? So if we don't have a set duration for our in-camera session, we could maybe reduce the effectiveness of the discussions because people are tired, we've gone off topic too many times, and we haven't been able to really dig into the issue and address the situation at its core, or we haven't been able to reach a decision. The impact, though, of defining a specific duration is that it helps participants manage their time, and it also helps the group address the most crucial topics without losing focus of the individuals and for the whole group as well. Ultimately, concise exchanges promote efficiency and concentration. The fourth tip that I have for you here is to encourage a roundtable to include all viewpoints, right? In an in-camera session, like in any group, some people may be more comfortable speaking than others. So we really want to avoid those who have that facility to express themselves and who are keen to bring their opinion forwards. We just want to balance that with the people who may be less inclined to speak freely, right? So using a roundtable format can help us ensure that everyone has the opportunity to speak and making sure that everyone actively participates in the discussion. What's the risk of not using a roundtable? Well, as I was saying before, quieter voices may be overlooked, which can lead to less inclusive decisions and perhaps an incomplete understanding of the issues. The impact is that if you foster everyone's ability to speak and if you allow for a more accurate view, by encouraging everyone to participate, you will probably have a better chance of including every perspective, considering every perspective, because everyone will have had the chance to speak and participate in the discussion. The fifth tip that I have for you is to ensure clear follow-up on decisions that are made. After the in-camera session, it's important to ensure that the decisions or conclusions are well documented and that follow-ups are planned. Even if the discussion remains confidential, the board must have a record of the actions to be taken. Although in-camera sessions are confidential, there has to be minutes, right? Minutes should be produced for every in-camera session to document decisions, right? Therefore, to document the board's diligence and also to ensure proper and timely follow-ups. So board matters are confidential, in-camera session discussions are confidential, but their subject and their ensuing decisions, they need to be documented, right? In your minutes, just like all your other meetings need to. On that note, I wish you productive and constructive in-camera sessions for your board.